Hey everybody, this is Ronald Long with Talking Squirrels, the middle school ministry podcast. I am so glad that you are joining me on this audio adventure today. I want to ask if you have ever experienced a lawn mower parent. Is this something that you've ever seen in your ministry? Or if you are a parent, are you a lawnmower parent? Let me explain and kind of break this down a little bit. A lawnmower parent is like the next step up from helicopter parent. Now, you might remember a helicopter parent. They're the ones who will swoop in and save their kid when something goes wrong. For example, say a student forgets their lunch at home, and so a helicopter parent would go, "Oh no, my kid has left my lunch at home. I'm going to drive home, grab the lunch, take it up to the school, and give it to them, thus saving them the hardship of going without lunch." That is a helicopter parent, one who dives in and helps and saves the day. Lawnmower parent would be a parent who never allows their student to have any problems whatsoever. So in our taking your lunch to school story, it would be like the parent always make sure as the student is leaving the house that their lunch is physically in their hand or in their possession. Like they make sure for the student that the thing has happened. In other words, they clear the path for them, thus the lawn mowing part. Now, it would seem like the lawnmower is kind of a step down from a helicopter parent. I would think flying an Apache is kind of, the highest you could go, but really, lawn mowing parents are more of a threat than helicopter parents. And as I'm raising my own kids, I have 3 daughters, I'm trying to make sure that I am not a lawnmower parent because I want my kids to face difficulties so that they can learn to overcome hard times. If my kids never experience difficult times, then they'll never know what to do when a hard time comes that I can't help them through or fix for them. These are statements that some parents have made to me about clearing the way for their kids. Something to the effect of, while my student is on the mission trip with you, she will need access to water through the duration of the trip and need to be able to go to the bathroom every 30 minutes. Can you make sure that happens? Okay. Also, parents, when they are coming to me saying, "Hey, my student wants to go on this trip, however, I will need you to ensure that he takes his medicine every 4 hours." All right, so every 4 hours, you as pastor need to ensure that he, as student, takes his medicine. Are you 100% sure that my student will never be outside the view of an adult? They will never be alone by themselves, or even just alone with only students, not without adults in present or close proximity. With me being in middle school and you listening to this, dealing with middle school students, you've probably come in contact with a lot of lawnmower parents. And sometimes for me, I feel like my parents, I was born in the 80s. I'm a product of the 90s. My parents let us go through some hardships, right? They let us experience difficulties. They even let us get bored. Oh no, some things like that. And so as I interact with these parents, I'm not about shutting them down. I'm about shepherding them and walking alongside them. You may be familiar with some of my issues I had 2 years ago with parents who were very concerned about their students' allergy needs. I had one set of parents that were making unreasonable requests versus another parent who were making a little bit more reasonable requests for allergies and what we were serving and things like that. I think that was a really good kind of, it allowed me to see, all right, there's one group of parents that I'm just not going to be able to help, but there's another group of parents here that if they let me, I'll be able to shepherd them and to work with them. Because I love parents. I love having parents as my volunteers. I love having them be leaders on trips. I'm not against parents. I'm all about them. But sometimes in current culture, we need to show parents the I guess, the benefit of allowing their students to go through difficult circumstances and not, I don't know, call the retreat center 3 months before we actually go there and ask for the menu to ensure their student doesn't accidentally choose something to eat that they are allergic to. True story. That was a very awkward phone call with the retreat center. So we had to tell our parents, please don't call the retreat center for the menu. They don't have it. Please. So here's kind of what I go through when I'm dealing with parents and they are lawn mowing a little bit. First, if a parent is bringing up something that can seem like it's going to be a pretty big inconvenience to me, my adults, or the trip, I ask, okay, is this a legitimate request? Is there a legitimate reason? You know, sometimes medicine needs refrigeration. Okay, or sometimes, you know, kids have to carry snacks with them because they've got type 2 diabetes. You know, that's a big deal. And some of these parents have legitimate concerns. And I'm getting older. I'm 33, so I can still see how a parent who looks at me and they see my oldest kid as an 8-year-old and go, oh, okay, well, Ronald doesn't really know how to deal with perhaps this type of situation. So there are some times where a parent needs to sit down with me and say, hey, I need to let you know my kid has a blood disorder, so we need to refrigerate the medicine, we need to do this. Is that something we can accommodate? Well, okay, you know, that's a health concern, right? We're gonna sit down, we're gonna try to take that into consideration, especially since it's something the kid can't help. They can't help that their medicine has to be in a refrigerator, so let's try to figure out how we can make that happen. You know, there are legitimate reasons for requests being made. There are not so legitimate reasons for that or requests that can get made of me, like being sure that I personally make sure that a student takes their own medicine. That kind of goes into the next question that we ask. Is there a way we can teach parents how to let their students take the lead or experience some difficulties on their own? As a church, our policy is that we don't handle medicine. So we don't have a nurse who comes on the trip and hands out the medicine. We tell parents, okay, if your kid has medicine that they have to take, our policy is that medicine stays in the container it came in a bag labeled with your student's name on it, and they are in charge of taking their medicine. That is something that they must do if they need it. Now, again, dealing with middle school students, that might mean I have some kids who are supposed to take their Adderall and they did not. And they are experiencing all of the side effects of not taking their proper medication. All right, so is that going to be an issue for me? Potentially. Is that going to be an issue for the student? Definitely. However, that student's going to learn what they need to do. Also, another way that this comes up often is I have students who serve in our program who help out in a lot of various ways. And one of the ways that they do that is by signing up with an email address that the student checks. Not that the parent checks, but the student checks. And this is through Planning Center, and we schedule them and things like that. And it's, you know, typically a parent can get away with that with the first kid. Oh, well, we'll just sign them up with my email because I check it. What's interesting, the software only allows one person per email. So if the parent's already signed up in Planning Center and then they sign their students up, well, the parent will stop getting updates on where they're scheduled and only receive the student ones. So we have to say, well, the student needs an email for this. And then, you know, they have to have a sibling who comes through. Okay, well, now they need to sign up for different things. But we put the onus of this on the students and say, students, you are going to be the ones who have to sign up. You are the ones who have to track when you're going to serve. You're the one who has to understand what your job is. I put up a quick one-page job description for each job that I have them do. This is a big deal. I say, students, you have to know this. I had a girl come up to me on Sunday at 9 o'clock. We're going to get started in about 30 minutes and say, hey, Ron, I'm here. I'm ready to run the sound. I say, fantastic. I am looking forward to you running the sound another time. You're supposed to get here at 8 o'clock. You cannot run the sound this time because you didn't walk through practice with us. And by this point, we'd practiced the songs, we practiced the games, we've gone through the videos, we've done everything. And it clearly says in the job description, show up at 8 so that you can practice with us. Well, she didn't. I could tell it bothered her that she didn't fulfill a part of the obligations. And so I highly doubt when she signs up again, when she's scheduled again, that she's going to miss it because she knows she's supposed to be there at 8. And she wouldn't have done that if it wasn't something that had hurt a little bit, or that she had figured out the consequences to. And then that leads us to the last one. Is this a request that we just have to say no to? And, sometimes that means a parent or a student can't come on maybe a trip that we do. Like if a parent says, I need you to guarantee me that my student will always be within the view of an adult the entire time and never be by themselves. Well, on a mission trip, I can guarantee that they'll be on the campus, and I can guarantee that they will be close to adults. But are they going to be in view of an adult the entire time? I can't really guarantee that that's going to be the case. And so that might mean that, well, the parent says, all right, I'm not going to allow my student to go on the mission trip. And for us, that means that we have to walk alongside that parent trip and really earn their trust and say, okay, at the same time, we want your student here. We want you to be a part of our ministry, but you can't lawn mow all the way out in front of these students every single time, because they've got to experience difficulty. They've got to experience what it's like to miss out on an opportunity because they made a decision. So this is a big deal. This is something that we do. It's something that I hope you might think through about how you can help and walk alongside your lawnmower parents. Because if helicopter led to lawnmowers, I think lawnmower parents might eventually lead to parents who only parent out of fear of their kids missing out, fear of their kids not experiencing something, fear of their kids being left behind, and that fear can get crippling. I can see this in my own life with my own kids. I want my kids to experience a little bit of difficulty in their life. Now, obviously, there are going to be some times when I have to step in, but really, I try to take a hands-off approach when it comes to my kids going through difficult situations. I want them to try to figure it out first. I don't want to swoop in and save them every time. I want them to learn because I want them to grow. Because when they graduate high school at 18, I want them to be able to know how to change a tire or be able to call home if they get lost, or all these different things. So how do you deal with lawnmower parents in your student ministry? What do you do to walk alongside the lawnmowers? I hope this was a helpful discussion for you, something that you might take something away from. It's been something I've been thinking about for a lot and would love to hear from you. So if you have questions or if you have suggestions about how I might be able to better serve parents who want to clear the path for their kids, send me an email at talkingsquirrelspodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up on all the socials, and if you like the internet or iTunes or things like that, you could leave a review that says this is a pretty okay podcast. And you guys are fantastic. Thanks for listening, and thanks for ministering to middle school students and their parents. Talk to you next time. Bye, guys.